And then when I think of Bill Cosby, you know, it's hard for me to separate. But you know, I do, because I know one is a character and one is the real guy. So I don't, you know, I just don't have a problem with that. I mean, am I gonna never enjoy another Kevin Spacey movie or show? No, of course I am. I mean, in the back of my mind, I might think, well, you know, he might be a criminal.
He was found not guilty and all that other stuff, but I have a difficult time of separating the human to the other aspects. Do you?
Human to the art. Sometimes
it's just me. It's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I can listen to someone without feeling guilty, but then if I end up thinking about it, it's kind of like, you know. But like Gene said, I can.
You can still sit down and put the Michael Jackson movie on and have any second thought about that. And that's a credit to you guys. I have a little bit more difficult time with that. And it brought this to mind because this was just 2 days ago. We're sitting there, and I've always loved, I'm one of the biggest Michael Jackson fans there are. And I've always loved like the time of the Billie Jean and the Bad and all those. I love those songs. And I was singing to that, and this whole thing of this documentary and these kids and these childs and these families kept going on, and I had a tough time enjoying it. And now I have to tell you, that's the first time in my life that I've had a tough time.
I mean, right now, I'll tell you what, it's hard for me to see Robin Williams on comedy, you know, shows and movies and stuff, because then I get sad and I think about that he ended his own life, and in that I mean, I don't feel like any pejorative against him. I just feel bad. It's hard for me to watch that.
Can you watch the Cosby Show and not have any problems? Because I do.
Yeah.
I have it.
I don't know. It just doesn't
Or a
bother
Kevin
me.
Spacey movie, as dastardly as this guy is.
No, it doesn't bother me.
Tony, do you have any difficulty
Besides the
with
fact that Kevin Spacey has not been convicted of anything.
Right.
It's weird since I ran to Kevin Spacey last week, and
did you run the other way?
Well, no, I'm a little too old for him. I'll say that. But the way I see it with these is because I also, with me doing stand up and then also doing radio, and I know a lot of people in radio. If their stories got out there about what they've done, then they would be involved in a lot of this. And there's a lot of stuff that people don't want to know about that's happening. Separating the art from everything, and that's what I always say, like when the Bill Cosby stuff came out, I can watch him and go separate, say, the man playing him is a monster, but I'm watching a character. I'm watching... see, this is where it gets into that different territory, though, because Dr. Huxtable is not Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is not Dr. Huxtable. They're two different people, and he's portraying a character.
I just feel like I'm supporting Bill Cosby, and I'm not saying I'm right. It's
like supporting by watching the show and kind of
yeah. That's
where it gets into that territory. Is are they using the like their personality, like where they've gotten in trouble for their art. So for example, R. Kelly is writing all these songs about love and sex, but it's like love and sex with who?
I do struggle with the whole R. Kelly stuff.
Do you?
I struggle with that one.
Okay, so how do you struggle? What do you do?
Like just like what Tony said. Well, I just don't listen to R. Kelly really anymore.
Did you always before?
No, not really. So I can't really.
But what if it comes on the radio or someone's playing it? What goes through your mind? Turn it off. I'm gonna leave, or all this other stuff goes.
It depends on who's driving.
Well, because I used to DJ. I used to DJ a lot, and when I would be in bars and I would play the song Ignition, the remix version of it, and no one thought two things about this, even though R. Kelly, for 15 years, well documented video of him urinating on underage girls.
A child, yeah.
A child. But we love jamming to it because it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I've had too much to drink tonight, and I love bumping and grinding to that. Or he actually has a song called Bump and Grind. And there's so many others that R. Kelly was around there. And you're like, well, did he...
Are you interested in how it would even be today? Because now... America's really taken a hold of this story. It'd be interesting to see if you were still DJing today on the React.
Oh, no, then we wouldn't play it. But Michael Jackson's different because the one thing about R. Kelly is even though he has very popular music, his music is
it wasn't transcendent the way Michael's was.
It's very the black community. It's more. I don't want to say more black music, but it's more on that end of the spectrum. Whereas Michael Jackson transcended race, transcended culture, transcended sexuality, and and time. No matter where you're at, and that's where it's difficult. Where listening to Thriller or watching the video and separating the guy who was in Captain EO from the guy dangling a little kid, a toddler over the balcony, and all the other stuff that's come out since then too.
See, that's why I have such a hard time with everybody freaking out because there was a documentary last week or 2 weeks ago. Because honestly, for the last 40 years, everybody knew that Michael Jackson was a freak. I mean, when you saw the picture of him dangling the kid, I mean, that was in the early 90s or the late 80s.
2003.
There's a difference between a...
was that 2003? I mean, because that was a long time ago.
There's a difference between freakish things and strange and
illegal things?
Criminal things with children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
There's a shade of difference there.
Yeah.
But again, all I'm saying is everybody knew that about him 30 years ago. Everybody knew that about him. So the fact that there's a documentary today, I'm like, meh. I mean, I thought he was a freak then.
Chris,
I think he's
you
a freak
work
now.
with kids every week. I have 4 kids. We might look at this a little bit different maybe than Gene and Tony do. When you see these kids running around that you work with on Friday night, and you think about Michael Jackson doing bad things to these kids, that has to hit hard with you. It does with me when I'm running around my living room with my twins.
Well, I'm not saying that I don't think badly of him.
No, I know
I'm
that.
saying I thought badly of him from the jump start, and the documentary doesn't make me feel worse about him because I already thought he was a freak.
Yeah.
Well, it's like people need...
It does to me.
People need a nudge because most people, I think, they kind of are in that realm where everything is fine. Everything is fine until they're nudged. Like now people are realizing what a monster Ted Bundy was just because they watched a documentary. So now our culture, because...
Needed visualized.
Yeah, really. I think these schools are doing a disservice when it comes to teaching history because we don't teach enough history, and that it's taking people after class and after, like, in their own time to go, oh, wait a second, there's more to history than what I was taught in school, because we're starting to learn this, and now it's like we need a documentary to teach history nowadays. We don't need, like, if it wasn't for Netflix, we know nothing about history. This is, goodness gracious.
10 minutes in front of 9 o'clock. Fact or Fiction is coming up. 1590 WAKR. Currently 24 degrees. Sunshine today, near 50 degrees. Low tonight 30. Tomorrow, mid-50s. 24 degrees. Ryan is in studio. Fact or Fiction next. 1590 WAKR. News Talk Sports.
Hi, this is Jim Rosenhaus with your Indians update from Tribe Spring.